Hey everybody, I'm Jill Redfern and welcome to Third Shift Movement Shop, home of literal technique. This tutorial is about the technique of movement of the arms. Movement of the arms is actually more complicated than we would like it to be, partly because the arm bones themselves are almost entirely independent of the larger skeleton. That gives them a lot of mobility that the femur, for example, the leg bone doesn't have, but it also complicates alignment and stability of the bones when we're moving our arms. So the first step in understanding the technique of movement of the arms is knowing where movement actually happens. And that starts with the bones. So let's take a look at the arm bones. I'm using the word arm bones to mean together the shoulder bones and the shoulder girdle. In literal technique, when I say arm bones, I mean those bones. So where are those? The shoulder bones are the collarbone, the scapula, which is the shoulder blade, and the humerus bone, which is this bone in the arm. The scapula and the humerus form the shoulder joint, which is a ball and socket joint. The collarbone and the scapula have a bone-to-bone connection, which means if the collarbone moves, the scapula moves. If the scapula moves, the collarbone moves. And since the humerus is in that socket, it's moving as well. The shoulder girdle is a 360-degree thing in the body, and it includes the two collarbones, the two shoulder blades, the scapulae, and it includes this bone here at the top of the sternum. It's called the manubrium. The manubrium is an aspect of the sternum. The sternum is an aspect of the ribcage barrel, which means it derives its alignment directly from the 33 vertebrae, specifically the thoracic vertebrae. The shoulder girdle inherently includes the shoulder bones because of the collarbone and the scapula, and the humerus comes along for the ride. The shoulder girdle connects the humerus to it's the only connection the humerus has to the larger skeleton. But in doing that, because of the ribcage barrel aspect of alignment, the humerus is actually connected to the thoracic vertebrae by way of the shoulder girdle. So when you think about it, when we're moving the arms, they're indirectly connected to the 33 vertebrae. Their alignment will ultimately be derived from the 33 vertebrae. The arm bones are interconnected. When one of them moves, they all move. So stability and alignment is not a parts activity. You can't just drop the shoulder blades and align the shoulder girdle, because the shoulder blade will move the collarbone. The shoulder blade will move the humerus. So being aware of the interconnectedness of the arm bones is really important when we talk about alignment and movement. So in your class this week, when you're doing any kind of port-de-bras, ask yourself a few questions just so you can start to understand what your arm technique is based on. Where do you feel arm movement coming from? When you move your arms, where does movement come from? When you stabilize this part, the upper body, what are you stabilizing, and what bones are you thinking about? Are you thinking at all when you move your arms about the 33 vertebrae or even the thoracic vertebrae? A lot of arm movement in early training is based on repetition and trial and error and guesswork. What we want to do is figure out how to move away from that and toward working the body we're in. And our body has all of these bones that are interconnected. Okay, I'll see you next week.